episode number 27.
Hello, everyone. The same thing we're going to do today as we usually do every year. This episode is going to be about the notes and how we attended the TNW tech event, or therefore in Amsterdam, it's called the Next Web event.
Anytime there's an event in town and we have to go to it, we turn it into content, as is our right.
That's true. So I have some notes. As always, the first part is going to be about weird news, and the second part, we're going to share our notes and thoughts about the TNW conference.
And we're going to extrapolate from that our thoughts about the state of tech in general, and we have some thoughts.
That's true. That was quite an experience.
Yeah. I mean, a mixed bag sometimes, but we'll get to that.
Indeed. So I have two pieces of news, and I'm going to kick it off from... Have you heard about Jeff Bezos' wedding?
No. What happened?
So Jeff Bezos basically said that he will have a wedding. In late June 2025, Jeff Bezos basically said, hey, I'm going to be doing a multi-day wedding in Venice. So a completely private palace, a 500 million super yacht, 200 high-profile guests, and he basically sparked the whole conflict in Venice, in Italy. That's like, hey, the whole city has like over tourism, huge inequality. The locals are being squeezed out from the city center. And Jeff Bezos is like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to rent the whole city center. I'm going to invite like 200 guests and basically, just block the whole city center just for his wedding. And the Greenpeace basically caught up to him and they started a campaign on the main square. And they basically said, if you can rent Venice for your wedding, you can pay more tax. And what happened, basically, there's this Greenpeace Italy basically group. They allied with the other group and they said everyone hates Elon, and they deployed a giant banner in the square with them together. So basically Greenpeace is uniting with the city and trying to basically push on the fact that, hey, maybe there's over tourism, there are bigger problems, people cannot afford food, rent, or just being in the city center, and Jeff Bezos not paying tax and just renting out the whole city center of Venice.
Yeah, this is standard for Jeff Bezos. He tried to do this in Amsterdam last time as well, right? He wanted to remove the bridges off the canal so he could get his yacht through the canal spaces.
Rotterdam, he rented.
Rotterdam.
Yeah, it was in Rotterdam. What he did, so for everyone who doesn't know, Jeff Bezos basically ordered the biggest and richest yacht to be built in Rotterdam, but they did not consider the fact that it cannot go under a bridge or any bridge. So he was proposing to basically put the bridge apart and then put it back together so that he can swim out in his super yacht.
Yeah, sure, buddy. Go for it.
It's insane. But the fact that you can consider that, it's like, oh, can you just pay tax, man? He probably can solve like poverty in the world, but whatever, greedy bastard.
This reminds me of that clip of him talking to Captain Kirk. What was his name? You know the guy. Anyway, he took him to space and he brought him back down, and he's trying to have a serious conversation with Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos keeps pausing and popping champagne. If anybody hasn't seen that clip, please check it out. It'll show you what a meathead this guy is.
He doesn't care anymore. Crazy dude.
Yeah, he never has. Do you know what the original name for Amazon was going to be?
No.
He wanted to call it Relentless.
Wow.
And to this day, if you enter relentless.com, Amazon pops up. Yeah.
I haven't done that. I should do it.
I can show you. Relentless.com. I do that and straight to Amazon.
Wow.
He still has the name booked. That should show you the mentality, because relentless isn't usually a word I associate with somebody who has it all together in their head.
That's true. This guy is just crazy. I cannot fathom like how he thinks. He doesn't care about publicity anymore. This guy owns the world, so what would he care? Anyway, what are your news?
One of mine is there's a new obesity pill on the market, and it appears to work just as well as the GLP-1s that are like Ozempic and so on.
I'm not amazed. It's pseudo-medicine. Probably doesn't work, or is it like scientifically proven?
Well, it's still early days, and I still think like Ozempic has a lot of flaws that we're looking over just because people are like, I want to be thin.
That's true.
And nobody's done the trials on those either. But so far, this seems to be less intrusive. That's
Hmm.
nice. And if you're afraid of needles and afraid of like injections and those kinds of things, this one works quite well. It's developed by Eli Lilly, not a great company, but they have pharmaceutical research on their side. Um, Again, it was approved as a Manjaro for type 2 diabetes, and it's also made more with efficacy, safety, and tolerability. And it seems to be a top class drug compared to the rest as well.
Manjaro is the same as Ozempic, just their competitor, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where what it is. Yeah, just
It's
Ozempic in a pill, I guess.
it's been through a 40-week trial at least, which isn't nothing. It's not nothing,
I mean, yeah, the side effects are not that like
Yeah.
crazy. You're like, oh, it's a suppressant of.
Tested against placebos as well.
Oh, that's good.
And it was tested with 559 patients with type 2 diabetes. So at least people who have type 2 diabetes aren't negatively affected by it, but God knows what happens to people who don't have it, because that can be a whole different ball game. We're not doctors. We cannot give this advice. We'd like to remind everyone.
Yeah, but this is more about that they are putting Ozempic in a pill, which is just a suppressant. The whole drama about Ozempic was that actual people in like who need it, right? So to use it as medicine, it was just not available on the market because the
Yeah.
whole underground market was like snatched all of it and started reselling, or people getting fake recipes, right? To go to the doctor and
yeah.
getting it. That's the part that I don't like.
So suddenly that year, every politician and every celebrity got much thinner very quickly.
That's true. Well, but that's why I'm okay if it's not a how do you call it? So if it's not going to be a scarcity and it's just like a pill that you can take and eat less, that's fine with me.
Anyway, the pill is called Ribelsis and semi-tested, I guess. It's been on the market since 2019.
That's quite a long time actually.
Yeah, it's been 6 years. Yeesh.
Yeah, I thought maybe it's a new one.
But I mean, the 2 years get cut out of that. 2020 to 2021 are kind of
Fair.
aren't relevant. I don't think anybody was running around testing medicines for in the wild during those days.
Yes, fair enough.
Oh, that said, what do you got?
I went into a deep dive rabbit hole when it comes to recession signs. So basically, have you heard of a pepperoni price index?
I've heard of the Big Mac index.
So it's kind of the same thing. There's so many of these indexes, and I basically made a very long list of these indexes and how people basically measure if there's a recession. We had an episode before about nostalgia, and how nostalgia is actually being reflected during like hard times, and this is pretty much the same thing. So the pepperoni price index, what it is, when people start trading down from restaurant pizza, they often splurge on premium frozen pizzas instead of the cheap brands. So rising sales in these bougie frozen basically pies are correlated strongly with the like 2008 recession, making it a surprisingly reliable early warning signal. The other ways of what is the recession signal, snacking recession. So basically people stop buying snacks for their pets, so basically pet food, and then again the sales slow down for snacks for pets, and that also one of the first signs of pet recession, like recession in general, because pets are not getting snacks, and because it's more of like a luxury treat, right, for your pets. Other ones are restaurant spending slowdown, obviously, because we're kind of related to the pepperoni price index. When it's not enough money and you cannot afford, you stop going to restaurants. So restaurants starts raising prices, it's more expensive, people don't go, they go bankrupt, people like, okay, I'm gonna go buy a pepperoni pizza. And I'll go through a few as well. So the stripper to restaurant worker shift. When strip clubs lose business in a slump, dancers often seek civilian roles in restaurants, or basically like hot waitress index, they sometimes call it as well. So this historical data from 2009 New York recession confirms the migration of strippers into like actual jobs, like Hooters maybe, or something like that. So that's where another sign of a recession.
I always propose the ramen index. If people start buying ramen soon, they're afraid some stuff's about to go down.
Yeah, exactly. So it's basically like people shift behavior. The other one is lipstick effect. So cosmetic sales, especially lipstick, tend to rise consumers sacrifice big ticket luxuries, just basically create small mood boosters. So it's kind of you treat yourself. So basically, that is also historically has been a factor. The other one where I had, which I really like, it's called men's lumberjack fashion. So basically, guys start buying clothes that are actually gonna last longer. So they call it like rugged denim that goes high in sales, which is called recessionary thrift and practicality. So that's how they call this kind of fashion.
That's all. That's all I buy.
Right, but like it's just interesting that this goes up. Let me see, that was another very interesting one.
Pawn shop activity is quite interesting, actually.
Yeah, so the pawn shop activity, it's rising pound balance, longer loan terms, but in reality this means that lower income households are liquidating possessions for cash, right? So they go in and they just give away the things they don't need, not for free, but to pawn shops. So data shows that pawn brokers over the past 2 years shows the lender of last resort channeling swelling, a clear sign of stress and the bottom income scale. So people just like start selling stuff that they don't need.
Yeah.
So the other one that has started rising in US specifically, it's called rent now pay later platforms.
Yeah.
So they demonstrate Klarna and stuff like that, or people actually starting buying food and snacks and pizzas for buy now pay later, and that's also crazy. The other one, I know it's a long list, but it's just very interesting. The other one is when companies start being a little bit more greedy. For example, ads are coming back on WhatsApp. So this is the thing that I read. So basically, Meta's move to introduce ads on WhatsApp after 13 years of being ad-free, and this is what they're gonna do. And they're gonna start introducing it in 2025. So I think this is gonna be a huge migration from WhatsApp, because this is insane. I cannot believe that they're just gonna start just implementing that. I really don't like that.
Yeah, people have been buying fast food off of Klarna's Pay Now, no, Pay Later schemes for a while now, and that to me is that's insane.
But it's gonna be for rent.
I know.
It's very different. Like I mean, it's not that different. It's something that you have to like subscribe basically for every month. But the rent, that's crazy to me. And the fact that people buy pizza as well with that.
Yeah, these all seem to be concessions for a broken economy, you know? People are like, no, maybe we can keep the same thing running. Let's just add more and more loan sharks to everything and keep loaning and loaning and loaning. This is exactly how the 2008 crisis happened, but at least people were paying for mortgages back then.
Yeah, that's true. The other one that I have on the list, maybe it's going to be the last one, is airlines and tourism slowdown. So US carriers, well, specifically for US data, reporting weaker passenger loads, right? So hotels seeing slower occupancy growth and fewer foreign visitors point out that, they want to cut down on travel spending. Vacations and basically local economies that are tied to tourism, they're not really doing well. And even some of the CEOs of like airlines and tourism agencies, they basically said it's already recession because they see that the numbers are plummeting. So yeah, these are the signs of recession, and this was just very interesting rundown that I found, and I'm like, oh my god, it's pretty cool. My favorite is the stripper to restaurant.
Yeah,
that's a cool one.
That one's wild, but it makes so much sense.
Yeah, there's a movie somewhere where a guy goes to a strip club and then he starts speaking to this girl, and she just basically says, hey, yeah, I have to go back to work. He walks out and he calls his business partner. He works like in a hedge fund or something. He's like, sell everything now, we're in a recession. So like basically that's where also the joke popped up. What else do you have?
New study, and this was by researchers at, well, doesn't say, but it's Natalia Kosmina is the name of one of the researchers. And it's a study about how GPT affects your brain in the long term.
I've seen this one, I think.
That's now, before everybody starts linking the study everywhere, it's worth noting the study has not been peer reviewed yet. It's a pre-publication study. So this is just meant to generate interest in the topic, and it could be bullshit. There's a replication crisis usually with these sorts of things, and every study that's like wild and people are like, oh wow, and they forget about it in 5 weeks and they find out they've never been able to replicate the results. So keep that in mind, and don't jump down my neck if this turns out to be false in a while. But it's interesting, you know. The research hasn't been peer reviewed, but it has a relatively small sample size of 54 subjects. That's also on the other side of it. It contributes to rising concerns about the cognitive toll of AI assistants. And the idea is basically people between the ages of 18 and 39 years old were divided into two groups. One group used LLMs daily and for all their tasks, and another group used brain only tasks. So they swore off LLMs, they swore off AI for a while, and at the start of the test and at the end of the test, they gave them they basically just gave them a series of tasks and to see who would perform which better. And the people who were training their brains the entire time performed better. I think that's kind of obvious once you think about it, but it's being so my problem with the study is it's being mapped as AI caused a decline, and I'm just like, okay, but if you Google everything all the freaking time, that's gonna cause a decline as well. I'm not fully sold on the effects.
Or when you give all the answers, you're like,
Mm.
okay, you can use this tool, it's going to give you all the answers, but then you just stop thinking
Yeah.
about it, right?
And I'm saying this. I'm like the least AI using person Alex knows in his life, probably. You know, but I'm always very cautious of studies that purport to these extreme results. Suddenly, oh, you got to be scared of this thing, scared of this new thing.
Well, I understand as well how the researcher kind of went into this. They're like, oh, people who drink water, 100% of people that drink water die. You're like, okay, well, if you're gonna basically give all the answers to the young people, like people, they don't have to think about it, and the critical thinking doesn't get involved. And how did you say you called it? Brain thinking activities. That's
brain only activities.
this is already like sounds very sad, like in general. So like, look, these people were thinking and the other ones got all the answers. Which one will, be smarter? Well, the one that actually had to apply logic and critical thinking. It just creates, like the connections with your memory. And if you don't do that and you don't train your brain, you don't get it. It's called also sometimes the Google effect.
Yeah.
So it's like basically like oh my god, what was the proper name? Anyway, so it's called the Google effect. It's a phenomenon where you start a discussion with your friend or someone, you have a question, you Google it, you get the answer, and then you forget about it. Yeah. So that's called the Google effect. And this sounds like a Google effect.
Yeah, yeah. Just taken to another level, I guess, because you don't even do the searching. You just kind of get the answer out from collated from all the different data points. It's from MIT, the study.
Yep.
So it's not just some random university, but at the same time, I think we're going to see a lot more studies like this, and some will contradict, and some will, actually support the evidence, and we'll see what's up, right? At this point, I do think there are people who overuse AI, but at the same time, I also think that like AI is. This might be a correlation versus causation thing, because AI is also so heavily geared towards people who don't like Googling stuff the traditional way.
So they're too lazy to research, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of the time they want a definitive answer, and that's the kind of person who usually will not perform well at those other tasks either. I'm not trying to say AI is for stupid people, but overuse of AI certainly is.
I agree. This is where I totally agree with you. I know some people that use AI for some like really ridiculous things. And I'm like, you really could have thought, you as a professional, you could have thought about it. You already have a structure in your head. You could have done something. But then when I see how they use it, I'm like, this screams, I don't care.
It's also how you ask the question. Yeah, sometimes you ask a leading question and it's going to give you the answer you want rather than what's true.
I think that's a different problem. It's more about that people ask without thinking at all. They're like, oh, I'm not going to put effort into it. I'm just going to like offload my mental capacity into this. So they don't present structure. They don't have like a proper query. They don't think the question and what the actual outcome. They don't think about a format. All they do is like, build me a plan, and then get a plan. They're like, cool, thanks, and they just reuse it. I'm like, yeah, it's terrible.
I mean, that's just part of basic thinking, not asking leading questions, you know? That's the first thing they teach you in research.
So are you saying this is a perfect tool for people who never actually thought about anything anyway? They're like, I'm struggling through life. I would need an AI to just like tell me what to do and tell me
Kinda,
how it
sorta.
works. Okay, maybe.
I do think like there are people who live their entire life by whatever the AI says. One time we were, instead of googling, we looked up a recipe for a milkshake on ChatGPT,
Hmm.
and we were like, oh, okay, but can you divide this recipe into two people? And it just doubled it. It doubled all the ingredients, which is not how that should work, right? Uh, like that won't produce the amount for two people, because I'm not going to use like four kiwis inside one freaking milkshake. So one of us really accepted the answer readily, and then I was like, no, that's not what happened. It just thought, oh, if I times two this, it'll look convincing enough to these
Yeah,
people.
fair enough. But like, just in the end, I think people just need to think more. I was watching this. I think it was like doom scrolling, and there was like people in 2040, and people would say, "No, you're robophobic." I'm like someone who's dating their like AI girlfriend or something. So like, you're robophobic. No, this is my new girlfriend. I'm like, oh my god, this is totally gonna happen.
There are already things like this happening. You saw that one video. There was this guy, and he was talking about, oh, I'm like in love with my Chat GPT assistant, blah blah
Hmm.
blah, and he's talking. The real twist is he had a wife and kids. And the wife is like, oh, I'm learning so much about how inattentive I am. I'm like, no, he's messed up in the head. What's wrong with you two?
Oh, it's like I've seen as well, like ChatGPT people just talk to it and say, hey, it healed my depression or something. You're like, okay, I'm happy for you, but like you cannot really put too much emphasis on this. It's a machine.
Yeah.
Or at some points, it's like the machine. Like some guy he realized he's like, oh, it's just a machine. It doesn't really care about me. Like it gives me all the answers I need. And he's like, after 7 months of chatting with it, I realized. I'm like, what did you expect? Like it's just a robot. It's just math.
Also, like people are so easily led
They
by
want to
something.
believe in magic, man. Like everyone wants to.
I mean, everyone has this sort of cognitive bias where when they hear what they want to hear, they just kind of go, "Oh, that's definitely the truth,"
Makes
rather
sense.
than slightly related. But there was a talk a long time ago by like a writer I really like called Grant Morrison, and he was talking about how in the future they're building robots that want to get off with you. I thought he was just being crazy and weird, but I was like, yeah, fair enough. The AI girlfriends popped out next year. And I'm like, yeah, they're training robots to really sort of be aggressively prod our narcissism. This sort of constantly be like, oh, have you considered this? You're so smart. Oh my god.
I I've seen right now like how robotics, like how far it is, and man, anyone just Google it, like AI girlfriend plus robotics. I don't know, you'll find so many creepy
Yeah.
videos where already there's like like people looking girls or dudes, mostly obviously like they do female. And like they have like reactions. So every question that you ask, they have like you can pick a um the voice, you can pick the character, and they have like actual reactions. They're like, I've seen one, it was like suspended from like this some sort of like metal arm, but it could move, right? It's like half of her body, but she would like react, emote, and talk and so on.
Yeah.
It was insane. And then I saw the guy basically started kissing the robot, and it was like, I could like, you can see the passion in the robot kiss, and you're like, we're screwed. Like this is too much.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of genetic dead ends from this.
That's true.
Uh, anyway, have you heard about Donald Trump's latest venture?
Too many.
The
I'm afraid to guess.
It's the Trump phone. Come on.
No,
He's
that one I
making.
didn't know.
Usually he's doing like scammy software stuff, like a meme coin or something. But I'm like, this requires manufacturing. Good on you, buddy. Now that's a real scam.
He has his own social media. He has his own phone. Wow. So
Anyway, someone from 404 Media, this is Joseph Cox, ordered the Trump phone, and he says the page instantly failed on him, and it charged his credit card the wrong amount.
Wow, I'm looking at the screenshot of the
It's
phone.
glorious. If you haven't, please Google it, guys.
Oh my God, Jesus
It looks
Christ.
great. It's just gold, and even the red, white, and blue of the flag isn't apparent. It's just gold and different shades of gold.
I like it. Looks like an iPhone though.
Yeah, yeah. They've basically modeled it after an iPhone.
All right, so
So yeah, the entire thing is the pre-order alone is $100 down payment.
okay,
And then like when the website failed, it still charged Joseph Cox 64.70 for nothing, and the pre-order didn't book.
okay.
And this is making America great again, Alex. You
Yeah,
need to
yeah. Wait,
understand.
I don't understand anything. So tell me.
Yeah, this is all part of the strategy. All right, the Trump Mobile is going to change the game. They said we're building on the movement to put America first, and we will deliver the highest quality and service. Our company is based right here in the United States because we know it's what our customers want and deserve. Donald Trump Jr. said.
Ah,
The
can't.
T1 phone is a sleek gold smartphone engineered for performance and proudly designed and built in the United States for customers who expect the best from their mobile carrier. They were like talking about this extensively on the I don't want to say his name because that just gives him promotion, but a right wing TV show. And what happened was they kept talking about, we're going to be building this stuff, and they're like, but the phones are already built. So how are you moving the factory from China over here? So it's not being built there, or you're moving everything soon.
I think it's just built in China and shipped and like put together
Oh
somewhere.
yeah, they don't care.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yeah. So this is gonna be part of the Made in America strategy instead of Made in China. And where would you put the price for that? Because the Chinese phones can be as low as like $300, $200. I've seen, and the like to move the manufacturing to the U.S. unless it's being made by literal children, which in some states, yeah, I guess it could be. It's gonna be twice as expensive.
Okay, I think $700. That's my guess.
All right, all right.
So how much is it?
No idea yet.
Oh, I thought you have the price for me.
I wish I did. I really wanted to know.
No, fair enough. I mean, it should be somewhere around that
Right
price.
now, they're scheduling pre-orders for like $100.
If it's gonna be more than an iPhone, this is crazy.
Yeah. It also raises questions about, well, your president like suddenly has an industry that he can keep boosting grants and funds into. Isn't that a conflict of interest? But we're so far past that at this point.
Dude, he's a criminal and a crook, and then in the end, he still gets like his kids starting a crypto company. Now he has a phone company, he has a meme coin, and he's still in the office. Man, this conversation is a little bit useless. I don't think it's gonna go anywhere.
Anyway, I've got two bits of news, I guess, that are slightly related. First of all, Meta's in talks to buy a whole bunch of AI companies. Like it's trying to buy, what's this called? It's trying to buy Perplexity.
Whoa, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
And there's this one called Safe Superintelligence. I didn't know about this one.
I don't know this one as
Yeah.
well.
But this is being reported by The Verge. That's they had a pretty good article on it. And meanwhile, OpenAI is in a bit of a scandal.
Really, what happened now?
They basically had a deal with John Ive. That's how its name's pronounced. And he had this company called IO. And for a long time, they had this partnership behind the scenes, and they were developing some sort of product together, which was supposed to be an AI-only hardware device.
Okay.
Right? Kind of like the Rabbit R1, but hopefully actually works, you know? So they were developing this thing, and so far, as the other company alleges, what they did was they used those meetings to steal all of their ideas and ran away with them. Right now OpenAI has scrubbed any mention of the company, so they pulled a Microsoft on them.
Wow. kind of not amazed. It's kind of not a nice business move, even though these guys have billions and millions. But
This is how Silicon Valley functions, man.
that's true. It's like there's no original ideas.
The partnership between OpenAI and IO is rumored to be working on a similarly screenless voice-activated AI device. According to the deal with OpenAI, IO's firm will lead creative direction and design, but they've recently filed a suit. So, are they going to continue? What's going on?
I'm so curious. Like right now, Meta is also coming in and buying a bunch of like companies. I've seen it. I think I've seen it like last week.
Yeah.
Of course, we spoke about the signs of recession just a second ago.
The fact that they're buying Perplexity is very interesting to me.
I don't like that, like how it sounds, because Perplexity for me is like basically donation and subscription based research AI tool, and I like it. I use it quite a lot actually. I have it pinned even in my tab.
But the problem with all of them is they're so expensive to run. They need some sort of sugar daddy to keep them active.
That's true, but why can't right now, I don't know, governments or like I don't know, municipalities?
They're already subsidizing them, but that won't really translate into profitability. It'll just kind of be afloat like Tesla was. Tesla was for the longest time on carbon credits and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the situation it'll usually end up creating if we do that.
Well, let's see. Like, but I just don't like how it sounds. I don't like that Meta is coming in and buying companies now.
I don't really like anything Zuckerberg touches these days. You know, he keeps like doing non-committal versions of different tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we're gonna do the metaverse. Where's the metaverse now? Scrubbing mentions of it on the website. You made everyone buy a goddamn VR headset, man.
That's true.
Do something more with it.
I mean, he's trying, but I constantly get like games that are being published because I have a VR set.
Yeah.
A bunch of games are being published, but the thing is, it's such a closed ecosystem, right?
Yep.
And
but that was the entire point, though, having the closed ecosystem.
Well, that's why you are not doing that well, because if you have something like Android, anyone can build an Android open system, and Google basically said you could do anything. And Google now or Steam, they're releasing their own like VR sets where they said anyone can build for it. Like, we don't care, right? You can use all the system, all the tools, all the whatever we're going to provide, just use it and build and upload.
Yep.
So I think that's where the growth is going to happen. And then they're also lowering the price for VR sets. So therefore, developers have a open, let's say, option to do anything they want and build any game they want, get verified, upload it, make money, while the consumer side is also very affordable entry point into higher quality VR sets. So I think that's a perfect thing. It's just gonna has to get there eventually. Like, it just takes a little bit of time.
It does. But the main issue with the metaverse was that right now they're trying too hard to monetize it so quickly. They want to have their cake and eat it too, right? One of the big problems is only big companies are working on stuff. But the way the internet developed, and they're trying to make Internet 2.0. That's literally what they're trying to do right now but just in VR, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, it was so open source. Everybody could just dive in and make a website.
Mm-hmm.
There are spaces in the metaverse where you can do that, but they end up not being quite as populated because the average person isn't on there.
Yeah.
If there was some sort of way, like there are ways, obviously, if there was some sort of more popular way in which people could just dive in and out of the metaverse through the regular internet, that would be like that would really benefit them.
Well, what Meta is doing, they have these like Ray-Bans that they have that you can basically film and do stuff and talk to it, and it has a camera, it can report back. I think when that augmented reality can be, if augmented reality becomes cheaper and it has an actual, like, solves an actual issue, I think that might be a very nice entry point.
Yep. They recently partnered with Oakley for
I've seen it.
Those glasses. I'm not a big fan of wearing glasses with that are constantly scanning all the time, you know?
I mean, that's for anything. The same with VR, your phone or PC. But if it has value, I'm okay with selling my data as long as I get a benefit.
Yeah, no, it's not even about selling the data. It's just this constantly being online and having something on your face that's dragging you online constantly.
That's what I said. It should have benefit.
But that's one of the things I liked about VR. You could just put the headset on, take it off, and leave that stuff behind. It did create the same problem we're talking about, where it doesn't have the same usability or doesn't have the same user addictiveness that the internet does or smartphones do, because they're always in your pocket, always buzzing, which has created the problem for Meta. But that's why I thought, like, if they could create that sort of virtual world where people could dip in and out from the regular internet rather than just be contained within a VR kind of thing. And there are, of course, there are those ways, but if they could bother making them popular.
VR is pure entertainment, right? You come into VR, you get entertained, you leave it behind because it's clunky, it's heavy, and it has a purpose
and expensive.
I mean, depends, but like it really, when it comes to your phone, it has everything, right? And it has a bunch of benefits. If it's gonna be a very lightweight, got like glasses that actually have augmented reality and have the benefit, I wouldn't mind wearing those as long as it's like not wearing them when you're driving and then being entertained at the same time, right?
Yeah.
So like it just has to be some sort of function.
Well, that's gonna have to be made illegal at some point, won't it?
Yeah, let's make phones illegal, but you know what we're gonna do? Slap a huge screen in the middle so you can tap and watch and watch Netflix on it while driving. Yeah, this is very logical. But anyway, anything else?
No. I think we've zoomed through a bunch of topics right there, and I have nothing else to bring to the table.
Let's do the juicy part.
The main topic. We went to the TNW. For those who don't know, the TNW is the next web conference, and this is organized over here in Amsterdam over pretty much every year, and a whole bunch of companies come in. They showcase what they've got going on. A whole bunch of speakers come in, give pseudo TED talks, but it's mostly geared around technology and the information space that we have.
And also about the future. So, for example, a few years back, they were talking about using generative functionalities. They spoke about databases. It was a lot about development, about automation and smart devices and IoT. Last year it was blockchain, like everything was blockchain. This year, the bear market, everything is AI.
Everything's AI, bros. Anyway, that does tend to make us feel like, whoa, wow, AI stuff is really popping off. But we'll get to that. Because I have my thoughts on this that I shared with Alex, and I don't know if you'll agree, but let's just go over everything chronologically first.
Yeah, so we went together with our team member. I went to this very interesting speech. It was like in the middle of it's called like a business center where all the startups were. And basically what the speech was about, it was from the municipality of Amsterdam. And they were talking about like different types of investments into startups, scale-ups, and actual big companies to stimulate, the job market, to stimulate innovation, to stimulate specific industries.
Where's the money going?
Basically, yeah, where's the money going, and are people being supported? So, for example, which also like industries are actually very strong or not strong? And for the last 5 quarters, so basically from 2024. Beginning from 2024, a lot of investments pulled out from Amsterdam. They were also what they do. They have a website, like on Substack.com, and you can just kind of research the Netherlands tech system. What happens in the last basically 1.5 years? There's no investment in Amsterdam. There's no investment in the Netherlands. Who is the biggest cash owner in the Netherlands? It's banks and it's pension funds. And banks and pension funds basically do not want to invest in the Netherlands. They get the money, they go to Poland or Czech Republic or somewhere, they buy some sort of shopping mall, and that's where they kind of keep their investments that are a little bit more secure. So that means that they consider that the Netherlands is actually very risky, and pension funds, they don't want to invest internally, which also doesn't stimulate the economy, doesn't attract any talent, doesn't let's say put enough money into the taxation, right? So they'll go, where we're gonna get the money? No startups, let's tax everyone else. So like it's basically creates a lot of hiccups and problems for the local startup ecosystem. They basically also said that Amsterdam is like 21st when it comes to the global scale when it comes to investments. However, with the current GDP and economical situation in the Netherlands, that's still not enough. They were like number 4 a few years back, and they said, where do people actually, well, which sectors are being invested into? And it's food and agri-tech went up in ranking, fintech, climate tech, and energy. And then in comparison to previous years, what went down is blockchain. That means that the other countries, they are investing more into startup scale-ups and bigger companies that are in these sectors. AI, transportation, semiconductor, cybersecurity, which is a big one because I think cybersecurity should only go up. And the Netherlands is the cybersecurity hub of Europe, and that's where this is not really cool.
Robotics took such a tumble.
Robotics, really?
Stats.
The Netherlands doesn't do robotics at all. Germany does it, so it might be some sort of movement as well.
True. We're much more software oriented, I've noticed, compared to the Germans who were industrial oriented.
Well, in this case, when you look at startups and scale ups, actually food, fintech, climate, and energy. So that is not really security. It's not cybersecurity. It's not robotics. It's not transport. It's not nothing. So I feel this is a very local, let's say, strengths of the Netherlands that are actually very also traditional, because the Netherlands is the one that exports a bunch of tomatoes, potatoes into the world, right? So they're like, okay, how we can improve the let's say sectors that are already doing well. So I think in a way, generally it's a nice strategy to do things better that you do well already and improve them and see how you can, let's say, cut the cost, improve the investment. But on the other side, you're not exploring, you're not creating new opportunities.
And they're missing out on some of these industries that could actually help grow the stuff they're already good at. Like blockchain and fintech kind of go together hand in hand quite well.
Could be, right? But they just invest. Maybe they're not calling it AI in that field, but that was very interesting conversation. It was very interesting to listen to the guy, and they were like, no fluff, because it's municipality of Amsterdam. It's like, we are the ones that need to stimulate the economy, and they said that the Netherlands doesn't have any big scale ups. So basically, it's under a million, from 0 to a million, then from a million to 25 mil, and then from 25 to 100, and then like 100 to whatever to infinity. And they don't have that. So they have a lot of startups. They give the money like an angel investors. They give it up to a million. That ecosystem exists. After that, for the last 1.5 years, nothing. So they're also not like, Picnic is a big one. So Picnic is the one that still gets like let's say 100 million support from the government to expand and do stuff, but that's it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know Picnic was getting a good investment from the government.
Yeah, but like still, hundreds of millions.
Actually, that does raise a question, because last year I also went to a talk from like a government spokesperson, and he was talking to someone from Schiphol and the airport in Amsterdam, for those who don't know. And they talked about how they forced the airport to switch to an automated system, and that caused innovation. Because people were breaking their backs doing bags and so on. It's hazardous for all sorts of reasons. So some of the most substantive stuff sometimes comes from the public sector speakers, because they're out there giving you like, this is what we got done, rather than this is what we're potentially going to get done if you give us money.
Yeah, but also that means that the local talent doesn't get the investment. That's number one. Two, maybe there's no interest, because now let's say everything was AI, but they're like, actually we are falling behind on the AI race. Why? Because no one wants to do it, or no one knows how to do it. That means that the education maybe is not there. The people don't want to come here because like, oh, I'm an AI expert, I'm going to go to US because they pay more, they have better conditions, and they have better experts than the Netherlands. So that means the talent is not coming in. That means maybe the government doesn't give money or subsidies. That means maybe living here is a little bit more expensive than somewhere else. So there's a lot of factors that actually get into like the reasoning of why some sectors are not growing. And it doesn't have to be that the sector is bad or it's not innovating.
No, but that's one of the things though, because a lot of people are still contending there's going to be like a bubble burst soon, because a lot of things that aren't AI are getting lumped into AI, and people are throwing around investor money all the freaking time at them, and a lot of these companies just are not sustainable long term.
Yeah, but cybersecurity or robotics, that's not basically a hype.
I'm just talking about the AI stuff.
Yeah, but if you take other sectors that are falling back, let's say cybersecurity, it's just a very complicated job and it's very challenging. And maybe that's why there's a gap, because no one wants to do it. No one understands why they should do it. No, it's not advertised enough. It's like maybe challenging,
Yeah,
complicated. You need a background.
it's also the logic of the private sector usually, which is security often comes last until you really need it. Everybody cuts back on security measures and everybody cuts back on marketing, and then suddenly, when you need security measures, it's usually too late.
Yeah, it could be, but the thing is, it's still a problem.
Yeah, I know, but that's just the mentality of the private sector. It's people don't realize it's one of those things you don't realize you need, kind of like insurance.
Yeah, but what about robotics then?
Robotics, I don't know. So much stuff is getting like software driven. I imagine that's why. You know?
I don't know. Life sciences, semiconductors, transportation.
Semiconductors and transportation are very much handled a lot more by countries around us.
That's true, but it doesn't mean that there's no innovation in it. So basically, this is the strong like examples of ecosystem strengths and weaknesses in Amsterdam, and it's basically has more decline than it has growth. So that's the main issue. So yeah, that was like the first speech I went to. That was actually quite interesting for me because it gave like a global scale. Because then you start understanding that some industries are more concentrated than others, and if people want to find a job, you're like, oh, these ones are actually missing people. This is where you can go. This is what is required. And if you're not kind of like, if you're searching for a job, for example, you should go where like it's popular. Obviously it's fine, but then the competition is going to be higher. So maybe you can kind of strategically even shift, because that's what I heard as well while standing there. Some people are like, yeah, but like cybersecurity is complicated. Yeah, but you can do simple stuff in a company like that. Right? You don't have to be a hacker or something.
Yeah, I mean, I've known some cybersecurity people over here, and they did get laid off.
Yeah, also not enough funding or not enough popularity. So again, it's not about cybersecurity. Like people think it's just not a sexy job or something.
Like I said, it has to do with the mentality as well. It's one of those things where you're like, oh, now I need it. I've already been hacked.
It's just like lawyers, right?
Yeah.
You need lawyers in the end when everything's already bad. All right, where else did you go?
We went to the vibe coding one.
Oh yeah, the vibe coding. I have notes as well.
We were with a actual coder, and he had nothing but contempt for the entire proceedings.
Well, for me, like we spoke about vibe coding because apparently it means something else to everyone else.
Yeah.
Real developers, they don't get it, but they also use a lot of automation to write code and they check it. But therefore, they don't call it vibe coding because they know what they're doing. And this guy, there were two parts. There was a Christina Criddle and then
the Anthropic guy, Guillaume
Princeton. So yeah, so he's head of EMEA. I didn't like how the way he was answering. It was very.
We were asking better questions than the moderator was, but of course, the Anthropic runs Claude, right? So they're really into the entire concept of vibe coding because they want you to use Claude. It's really that simple. So the entire talk was just this fluffing up of how great Claude is. Just disguised as a talk about the lowering the entry level of coding.
This is not a bad thing to lower the entry level for coding because you can start thinking of like, whoa, I really like what I'm doing, even though like I don't have the skills, but this can be a nice entry point into that. And he said that 90% of people within the company are actually using AI to code. So 10% is just checking. But what I didn't like his response on was when the moderator, she asked, so how can you measure success of this? Like, how can you measure success when it comes to vibe coding or just coding automation and so on? And he's like, happiness, productivity. And it's like, and I think she said, so does it mean that developers will work less? Question avoided. How can you measure that it's actually like bringing benefit? Yeah. And he didn't say money.
I mean, I was thinking he would say something more logical, like usage time on his on the platform, but even that wasn't like, it was just buzzwords thrown around after that.
Yeah, he just did not respond at all. I think he started feeling a little bit cornered by the basically by basically by the correspondent who was asking him questions, and he just started avoiding and just saying fluff. I'm like, just say money, man. Like, it's just like, you can, like, we don't need juniors anymore, and the senior can do work for 5 and we make more
Yep.
money. Happiness, what, like, it's basically, he's like, oh, they don't have to, like,
Yeah,
babysit juniors, they don't have to,
it was
they still have to
really.
work 40 hours. He's like, he didn't say they have to work less. It's like, work more, don't have juniors, and then check the 90% of the code that was
Mhm.
done. So he's like, that grades
But
his happiness.
but I just think they were squarely about a lot of this. But I just think all of the AI people have been told, do not mention anything about workers because that instantly clicks in people's brains like, wait, the machine's doing the work, I'm gonna get fired. So, and especially at the TNW where most of us are like software folks or marketing folks or somebody who makes websites.
Yeah, and but for him, I mean, obviously, I understand the why vibe coding is a thing. I agree that you should build stuff and you should try building stuff and start thinking how it works and start setting up these things. This is pretty cool because it's just getting knowledge and need an entry point and changes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you should know what you're doing a little bit more before doing that, because you can build something that can be hacked and it's not beautiful. And then if you start suddenly growing with your vibe coding, and you don't actually hire nice developers, you can really get into an issue. I think there was one software company, the guy vibe coded and started growing users, and it got hacked, and like basically all the information got leaked in like
Yep.
week 5.
I mean, there's going to be all sorts of issues that are related to like bespoke security problems, but at the same time, those happen on regular websites as well. So I don't know if vibe coding will be all that much worse.
Well, that's where our developer friend, he said like, yeah, it's just garbage code. He's like, you basically create garbage code and you don't understand what you're looking at, but you can obviously fix it with like actually knowing what it should do.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but that's what everyone says about their specific job when AI does it. I look at how AI writes briefs and marketing materials, and I'm just like, no, god damn it, this needs to be this, and that needs to be that, and this sounds generic. So everybody says this about their particular field. That doesn't mean we're not being replaced on it. And I'm not saying that it does better work. I'm just saying in the current world, good enough is good enough for a lot of people.
That's true.
You know,
Move fast and break things, right?
exactly. The people much more prefer volume over quality, but we'll get to that.
Another one that we went to was sensing and shaping minds, how AI is transforming human perception and learning. And there were 2 guys. I really like one of them, who was talking about the way learning works. He's like, because you can personalize learning using AI, or when it comes to languages or math, or personalize any kind of education. And the other guy, he was about like how to enhance the work with AI, and he's from like a military service or something like that. So he's like, oh, if we have to search for like if it's someone on the radio in the middle of the war scene where there's a lot of sounds, AI helps like getting out
Isolate sound. Yeah.
so the AI helps getting all the noise out, and then only the speech, like the normal speech, is there that you can understand, and therefore it allows you to do better, like make better decisions and hear what exactly is being said, so you don't actually miss any information that is coming your way. And he basically spoke about like this enhancement, but he was very not entertained. He was on his like iPad and just scrolling, and then he got asked a question, he's like, oh, close the iPad and then start talking. Like, absolutely useless, but interesting solutions, let's put it this way. But the other guy, he was really cool, and he was discussing again like the enhancement of education, how personalization is cool, troubles of personalization when it comes to education, because then you're so it's so crafted towards how you are good in learning, but it also
That
takes away,
decreases the width of its applicability.
yeah, so it takes away the critical thinking of how it also could be when it comes to learning.
One of the big things about learning, and I don't hear people bring this up often enough, is to create common language between people. Like, if you learn something very specific to you, you won't be able to relay that to another person because you won't have a common understanding. Like, like how flat earthers do science.
I mean, I understand that you have to be like specific. Like, if I have some sort of AI personalized learning and you have your own, we will not have the thing in common. We in the end we will meet and we will
Mhm.
understand, but the path how to get there is going to be unrelatable.
If I do math with an abacus and you do it with a calculator, one of us is, we're gonna have trouble working together.
Yeah, so the question is like, is it about the results or is it about the journey, right? Is it about what makes us work better together?
I think ideas are useless if you can't communicate them to other people commonly.
Yeah, but it's about the final result. So for in his case, he basically explained about like translations, right?
Yeah.
So like, hey, you don't have to learn a language; everything's going to be translated live as you speak, right? So you don't need like you can really move for increasing the human like uh, critical thinking, but only in a very specific field, because again it's like it's going to have examples that you'll understand, it's going to be personalized to your
Mhm.
education style. I think that's great, but also I think you should get there once you understand concepts or
Yeah.
something like that.
I mean, so much of this is about stuff we don't want to do. Like, I would like to communicate with people, but not have to learn an entire language to do it, and that's fine. AI can take that part up. It'll never get rid of linguists because linguists are really into the game. Just like, okay, a good analogy for this is we've invented chess computers for the past 60 years, right? Chess computers that can outmatch everybody, but that hasn't killed professional chess players. If anything, I think chess is more popular than I've ever heard it since I was born. More people are playing it. More people are like engaging with it, and I think just because a computer does something better doesn't mean it takes away the need that people have to do it themselves.
Yeah, that's true, but it's also about passion, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like if you're
But
passionate about learning languages, you're going to be learning languages. If you aren't passionate about it, but you have to communicate, then you're like, let me skip this very complicated 5 year thing. All I'm
yep.
going to do is just use some sort of AI and live conversation
That's
translator.
what I mean. I don't really have the energy or time to learn chess, but and I also don't want to watch like computers playing it against each other. But at the same time, it's nice that chess computers exist.
Yeah, but is it about then like how you learn, or is it about the fact that learning is fun?
It's fun for some people, I guess. Would
Right,
be my
so
point.
this is the main discussion point from his side. He was like, hey, is it about personalization learning because you have to, or is it about personalization learning because you need to, or is it just give me
Yep.
the answer in the end and I don't need to learn about it?
But that's why that's what like AI is kind of revealing, right? There's so many people who didn't want to learn the thing in the first place; they just wanted a grade or something.
Yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, good. You paid for university, and now you're gonna have a computer do all of it for you. You're gonna be useless.
Welcome, life isn't fair.
Yeah, but no. I genuinely mean that's fantastic. You know why? Because that's an entire generation of people who paid thousands upon thousands to study something and didn't learn it.
That's true. I think that's already happening. I mean, I'm
Yep.
kind of like that as well. I learned a lot of stuff, but I'm like, not applicable actually.
Yep.
But I think it's a failed system rather than a failed, so me not studying.
Yeah, yeah. But it'll happen more in studies people don't actually want to do.
Hmm.
I doubt if you go to like music college, there's somebody who's just like, oh, I'll just have the AI do the music for me.
So this
You
about
know?
the process. So this guy
Yeah,
spoke
yeah.
that like what is more important, the final result or the process?
I mean, it really depends on your own mentality, as always,
Right.
right?
So why are you doing this? So this is where he said that's the danger. That's like, hey, I have to get there in the end, and it's not about the process. Is it good enough or not? So like he did not give a response, but he said there are obviously benefits of having personalization
Yeah.
done when it comes to your learning process, and AI can really help personalize it for you. So I think that was cool. The other one we went to that I really enjoyed, it was a work-life balance. Why and how use humor to make you and your team more successful. You went to this one as well.
No, I don't think I went to work-life balance.
Super funny. The guy, he's Pep Rosenfeld. He's a founder of Boom Chicago in Amsterdam, which is a stand-up club, and it's improv. They do improv classes and basically any kind of like theater. Was super nice. The guy is super charming, super fun. He's very energetic. He's like really pushing the limits. He has a book That is, I think it was called work-life balance, like literally work-life balance. So like I actually added it on my Amazon wish list, so I really
No.
want to read it. But he explained concepts about that humor builds trusts, the team laugh together, and that also like creates trust in each other. As long as they're not too woke, I guess. Humor helps reduce tension and stress. So he's like, hey, you can sometimes really make jokes and just push the narrative just because it's fun. It doesn't mean that you're dumb. It means that you have a sense of humor. And obviously, there's a bunch of research that says people with uh, like dark sense of humor actually like have higher IQ or something like that. I mean, it depends. But he also explained how work needs to match the company culture. That like don't force a joke, don't try to like squeeze out if it's not the right environment. So kind of like common sense. And he also really thinks that leaders should model like basically their teams and encourage humor without crossing professional boundaries, right? You can make jokes, but it's better to make jokes like joke at yourself with your team members if you're already a little bit closer. And I think that's pretty cool. So super fun and very powerful speech. I have nothing bad to say about this one. I really enjoyed it. He made the crowd work. He made them like count and have emotions without having emotions. He was joking around. So super cool. Really like that one.
Cool. The next one.
Did you go to another one?
Uh, I went to after that one. We went to the showcase, right, where that guy was showing off like the various various short films.
Yeah. Do you remember how it was called?
I don't remember what that one was called, but we went to a showcase about like psychedelia and AI. So a guy showed off some short films, and a lot of people really liked them. I thought they were a bit, yeah, all right, a bit like not as advanced as I thought they would be, and frankly, the personality type of the guy was rubbing me the wrong way. He reminded me of a lot of people I smoked weed with in university, and who were bothersome human beings.
I mean, I think it was very cool what they did, but the fact that like there was no editor, let's say, involved that much. It was all ideas. It was all prompting. So, and then this is what AI can visualize just by
Mhm.
giving it cues. And I think that's as well the entry point into production now is going to be really low because if you're a very good prompter and you can describe your things very very well, it doesn't mean that you don't have to be creative, because if you're not creative you cannot like get the style in, the colors and the concepts in. So if you are a good prompter, you know how to tell a story, you have still a creative mind to understand how you can really like deliver that information to an AI in such a way that it can visualize it. I think that's great. I think it was actually high quality for just a bunch of words being told to the AI,
Yeah,
and then you don't need any producer, any post production, any film, any call, like any light, any makeup, any actors, nothing. And then it's just like, hey, do this
mm.
and make
but
it poppy.
that's part of the problem where like every other shot the main character, his beard would have different length of beard. His eye color would constantly be switching around, and I was like, well, I mean, my sense of consistency is just being dragged down. And yeah, it helps that the film was very surrealist. In that sense, it hides the sort of imperfections behind the stylistic choice. So I guess in that sense he did a good job on that. But you know, I'll keep my comments to myself, honestly.
Yeah, but this is basically like you knew what you were going for, because it was like it was literally psychedelic, and he warned
Yeah,
you.
yeah, but I mean,
No, this psychedelic doesn't have the same length of the beard between the shots, right? That's what you're saying.
what I'm saying is that's definitely an issue with the model that he used, rather than an
Maybe.
issue, rather than a thing that he was actively trying to achieve. Because sometimes you can tell what's a mistake and what's a genuine artistic choice.
Or AI slop.
Like
AI slop is a big thing.
the Bob Dylan film that he showed. There was Bob Dylan's age kept changing because the AI was going between like old footage of him and new footage, but you can tell that's a mistake because it was supposed to be one specific period of Bob Dylan. He was about one songwriting session that he had.
Yeah.
So the things like that make me just kind of go, well, I mean, if you had an editor.
I that's true. Well, the art style changed a lot. I also when I
Hmm.
watched this, I
That I'm
watched
fine
it.
with because I've seen short films like that, and like you said, there's a thing with psychedelic films where that happens a lot.
Yeah, so that was very interesting to me. The last one I went to, because we just hang out with other tech people, the good, the bad, and the future of AI. So that one was basically a session talked about like AI from all sides, huge promises, risks, and the future that
Yeah,
how it might look.
this one I had problems with.
Yeah, why?
Okay, the good AI can solve big problems from climate modeling to medical diagnostics. I'm like, shh. The problem with the current climate models is not we have bad modeling. We have very, very good modeling, actually. The problem is convincing people to actually take a dip on the various things that they have, like driving less large cars, or consuming less meat or something like that. The big problems with this issue are not, oh, AI will suddenly solve it. The big problem is people don't want to solve it.
I mean, I think we're talking a little bit of a different one because there was a whole commission sitting there from the European Union. It was 5 people on the stage.
Ah,
So I think you're talking about another one. So in this one, they basically were discussing of speed of adoption of AI within
hmm.
the European Union, and there was a European commissioner.
I was specifically talking about the climate modeling
Ah,
aspect that you
there you go.
mentioned because climate modeling is fine. There's nothing that AI can improve there, to be honest, and nor does it need to, because we've come to the conclusions we needed to come to for a long time. And yeah, I can understand its applications in medical diagnostics. That's quite nice. But at the same time, giving someone a wrong diagnosis is very, very deadly.
That's true, but I think that's basically where the development should be, right? So we saw that just it's not enough investment, and I think the medical was not even on the list from Amsterdam investment opportunity, like where basically startups are getting funded. There was no medical,
Yep.
so that's not even. I mean, medicine in the Netherlands is a joke anyway, but
Yeah.
but that's where it's not even being done. I know that in UK, I was talking to someone who basically during COVID times tried to feed the audio files when they were recording lungs into an AI system to find like variables that actually overlap and with the patients that have COVID. So for example, you record my lungs, the
The
sound,
breathing.
the breathing, you upload it to AI, and potentially some breathing patterns or breathing sounds from my lungs can indicate that I have like COVID back then. So that's what they did because you cannot process so much information and you
Yep.
cannot really like use it from sound. But because sound can be put into numbers, numbers make sense to an AI model, and therefore the AI model can understand and kind of give you like a chance of like, hey, you have this like symptom, potentially you should do this or
Yeah.
check that. So it gives you direction. So the
Yeah,
whole
that's
speech.
fine, but my entire problem is still like with at that point we didn't have much data about COVID, so I don't know how good the data is that the machine is learning from, or how it differentiates between junk studies or good studies.
That's true, but this is COVID related. But now take any kind of other illness that potentially has the same like side effects or
Hmm.
something, or is it the same symptoms?
Like for example, if you feed your X-ray into a AI, I want and there's a spot on it, or the X-ray wasn't done properly.
Hmm.
A doctor will be able to say, well, we should do this again because this is
That's
unclear.
true.
However, an AI does this thing where it goes, well, I definitely know the answer, and the answer is this, because it's made to be very sure of itself.
That's true.
That's the big problem that every industry is having with the AI, which is the hallucinatory factor.
I think it's about also making sure that the expert actually takes a look at it, right?
Yeah.
And then it can help the expert to make a like a calculated, let's
Hmm.
say, data-driven decision. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have to be a professional. It means that he has to be also critical of this. But
Mm-hmm.
also, it can help you open up other sicknesses, just like the DNA test, right? The person makes a DNA test, it checks through the background. There's historical data of millions and billions of people when it comes to DNA. It's like, oh, everyone who has this
Yeah.
some sort of DNA twisty thingy has some sort of illness potentially,
But
right?
that's the thing, though. What bothered me about this talk is they in the section of the good, they were trying to tackle issues we know the solution to. And the a big problem is not that if AI gives us the same answer we already have, people will suddenly believe it. It's that there are incentive structures that stop people from believing it, or making the medical industry better, or making the climate industry better, or making these things better, because those industries are currently very antagonistic towards certain models of profit.
Yeah, well, that's a
That's a
right. So
different
they're
issue, right?
yeah, that's a different issue. But they're not training
So,
the people. They don't have the proper education. It's very expensive. Again, not attracting talent.
mhm.
That's different from like AI can actually be useful here.
Yeah, yeah. But that's what I mean. AI will just tell you what is already being said, and it will summarily be ignored because the main problem is there's human beings at the end of it that have to make these large scale decisions for good or for bad, and sometimes those human beings are, I don't know, the petroleum industry.
Yeah, for
Like,
me,
just because an AI told them, what you're doing is bad for the climate, they're not gonna suddenly be like, oh really? Oh word? you know my main issue is that, because they're trying to turn structural issues into this battle of ideas, and it's not really about ideas. The ideas have always been there. We've had this discussion for like decades at this point, and the industries that they're trying to tackle, healthcare especially, uh, it's a policy choice that we let people die.
yeah, no, but I
And that
think
policy just won't change because a machine said something different,
what
or actually said the same thing, to be honest.
for me, this speech was more about how legal, like how legally they're trying to like implement it into European Union. So
Yeah.
there's in July of 2025 there will be a AI Act that will be released,
Yep.
and it's like a package that they were working on, and it basically described some industries that are gonna be okay with using specific models, another industry that will be a little bit more restrictive, and they give recommendations or through GDPR. So there are many ways of their implementing. Actually, during that speech, out of 5 people on the stage, everyone really applauded for the European Commissioner, because he was very persuasive that this is great and amazing and so on, and had all the passion in the world to basically brainwash everyone there. And the other people who were there as like CEOs of companies and startups, one pretty cool startup, it was about they basically tried to enhance proteins.
Oh.
That one was super cool. So she was discussing how they use AI to basically test, and a lot of their clients are like pharmaceuticals, and they're basically testing how they can enhance and make the proteins better or stronger, and be like an actual, because proteins obviously are a brick for your muscles. It's basically a recovery mechanism for your body. It gives you energy, it gives you like, it helps your bones, helps your muscles, whatever. And they basically saying, hey, we're doing the research to get a bunch of data, if I understood correctly, from the pharmaceuticals, and they aggregate it and they work with it to make sure that they can run simulations of tests for the proteins, that they can make them better or work faster or stronger. So I found that's pretty cool, because of course some of the medical industries, they have a lot of restrictions and regulations, and the AI Act basically allows, let's say, use case of some of the tools. And the same way other industries as transportation, they're a little bit more struggling, because like, hey, you cannot drive in some God's forgotten town using a Tesla automation driving. So, and they say, hey, how that regulation will work. So again, it was not about really how good or bad it is. It's more that there's a framework now how to work with it. And I think that's pretty cool, and I really like the discussion actually, because it was very it's not like let's push the limits, it's like let's have protection, let's have regulatory protection, let's have a regulatory framework of this, let's make sure we have the rules and that you don't break them, and then there's understanding, because obviously normally the governments, they move slower and the companies move faster, but this framework will allow basically new companies to enter the market and say, oh, there's a rule book, let me do this in the medical field because I know I can. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
cool.
All right, next one.
That's it. That's it pretty much.
All right, the last one I visited was the journalism and AI one.
Mm.
And but I can basically summarize that as we're all doomed.
Really? Why?
Because it was one of the guys from the TNW who used to run the newsroom area, the editorial board. Not anymore, but still. And he talked about how AI is just being made to do those factual summaries that journalists used to pore over and try to do. And on some level, I'm like, yeah, that's it's fine to get rid of that and have AI summarize that. It'll just be faster. And as long as you're summarizing, I don't know how much could actually go wrong. Like as much could go wrong as with a human being. Let's
Mhm.
put it that way. Huh? But on the other hand, it's just such a different model of journalism that he had in his mind, where I'm like, well, you're not supposed to be a stenographer. You're supposed to like actually insert your own opinion in there. Not even opinion, just like give your perspective with the sense of like, oh, this happened in history and these facts are more relevant. Like for example, tomorrow if somebody if a country announces, oh, we're leaving the European Union, you should give some history on previous countries that have left the European Union. You know, that's a qualitative decision that you make. If you don't include that, you're like not exactly misinforming the reader, but you're also not adding anything other than just typing in the same brief that that country sent out. You know. Secondly, I don't know how well AI judges okay, the job of the journalist is to receive a whole bunch of information and relate it to other things, and I don't know how well AI does that at this point, because at this point because it's very good at paraphrasing. But sometimes if you're paraphrasing, you're just doing a disservice in journalism. Like you get a police report, well, are the cops lying? Is the person who wrote the report, do they have an agenda? You have to do all these sort of like calculations in your head. The speaker had a very different model of journalism than I do. Mine is much more skeptical, and mine is much more based around, well, you've received a brief, and now you've got to think about it.
Yeah, for me, or when I think about just general journalism, there are some authors that I'm like, I like this guy. I'm gonna read it because he published it,
Yeah.
because I like his
Yep.
opinion, his way of writing, his perspective, his way of like relating it to things.
That is a good way to look at it, honestly, because so many times people are like, "Oh, I don't know what to believe and what blah 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 and this and this." And I'm like, find somebody who's actually not bullshitting you, and try to see where they come from.
Right, but you can believe a person, an author. But what scares me is that if it's all AI generated, there's no author behind
That's the
it,
thing.
right?
That's the thing, though. I'm not even scared about it doing the job inaccurately. I'm scared about how we define the job.
Because then if it's a journalist that you like, then he uses AI, you're like, oh, he changed, right? But he didn't. It's just that his work is outsourced to an like AI
Yep.
editor,
Yep.
rather than he being a journalist did not change anything. But the output through the editor changed, and now it's impossible to read him. Therefore, the credibility of his work is going down. Not him, but his work. But he has a filter, which is an editor, and that is the problem.
Moreover, AI is so like acquiescent and so agreeable about everything. I think the best journalists are very disagreeable, to be honest. They sort of poke at the narrative rather than go like, okay, this is what I received. Here it is, just written in my own words with no analysis.
Yeah, so that's an interesting like speech in general. So in a nutshell, I think it was too much AI.
Honestly, yeah, just everything had to be about it, and I think that at this point, that's also because it generates clips online when you post the shorts. Oh, this thing is happening and that thing is happening in AI, and it gets boosted by either AI bots or AI boys who are just like obsessively looking for the next thing to invest in. So I do think on their part there was a huge active decision to make everything about AI when they could have been like, well, can we have something that's not?
There was nothing in between, literally. Like I really like
two speakers I think we had that didn't speak about the AI constantly.
Yeah, I really like the humor one. So that was very fun, like work-life balance. So I think that was the highlight because it was not AI. It was about actual people and about the way to, like, let's say, be funny and build a team. So that was cool. But in a nutshell, too much AI for me. Every year
And
we're complaining that there's too much of
and
whatever
look,
is trendy
and
that
look,
year.
I like hearing about AI stuff constantly, right? But our big problem was it was AI, and it wasn't always substantive. You would go up to a company and you'd ask them, "What does AI do for you?" It helps us do stuff faster, and you're just like, okay. I don't know if you needed AI to do this specific job, but I'm happy it's happening faster for you. And I'm not sure that you can call yourself an AI company just because you use ChatGPT's API to do your job now.
Yeah, that's true. So for me, should be like it should be mixed. In general, my feeling is that should have been more mixed. Maybe they should have invited someone who are not trying to sell their service that much. Maybe they could like I really like the European Commissioner because he was not selling anything. He was more about there's protection
Yep.
law now. I really like the Boom Chicago founder because he was about hey we should be more funny rather than come to
Yep.
my place. I really liked as well. There was one moderator from the, was it, yeah, Financial Times, and she was just basically asking the right questions. The founder from the
Anthropic.
no, the founder from the protein synthesis
Um,
AI, she just said, "This is what we do, and this is our clients, and it's like this is why." And they really like she really focused on why they do this, and I really like that because like yeah we use it, that's the whole point, but why we do it. And when the question came for her, like what's the next step, she's like, well, just do a better job. No selling, no nothing. So for me, again, I think I really did not like the too much AI, too much selling, people trying to show up that they're smarter than they are. They did not answer questions because it was 20 minutes. But the highlights, I have some highlights, I have some learnings. I'm gonna take a lot with me from this, and let's see what next year brings.
Yeah, same. I mean, I agree with everything wholeheartedly. I also thought that like the floor where all the businesses were could have been a bit better as well.
Agree.
Yeah,
No goodie bags this year.
yeah, and nobody was like trying to get us to be interested in their company. I met one guy and asked him questions extensively, and we talked about stuff. Who was part of Pebbles AI, which is like data management sort of AI company, and I was like, oh, okay, these guys actually have a reason to be using AI, and are don't seem to be latching on to somebody else's API, and that was refreshing because everyone else was just like, oh, this is the thing. I ask a second question, they're like, I need to talk to my manager.
This is what happens when Gen Z reaches the work.
Yeah, yeah.
The work feels like, hey,
I need to reach the human AI, my
yeah,
manager.
exactly. Say, hey, what do you think? Oh, I don't know. Don't know how to communicate. Anyway, well, thanks everyone for listening. It's been a little bit longer, but then you got all the feelings we get and feedback from the TNW conference, and yeah, let's see what next year brings. What's gonna be on the pedestal?
We'll be right there asking the annoying questions.
Indeed. Thank you for listening, and have a nice one.
See ya.